Barbar. Welcome to Pivot.
Thank you.
So as you can see, we're in a new studio today.
Yeah, I like it.
It's similar but different, and I'm liking the new vibes because we had a little bit of a break and now we're back. I'm happy to have you here. We've been talking about this for a really long time.
Almost a year.
Yes.
I think it's almost been a year, yeah.
But you moved. You weren't
moved.
even here. So
No,
now
I
you're
was-
here.
yes.
So it's been a bit easier to organize. And congratulations on moving.
Thank you.
Why don't you do a little introduction for yourself? Because I know sort of what messages you are here for today. And they revolve very much around health. I think your health journey. But yeah, I'd like you to do a little bit of an intro.
So I think when we started speaking first, we obviously connected along the whole terms of like taking care of ourselves
Yes.
and being a bit more cautious of what we were doing. And then recently when we spoke, I think it went down to almost speaking more about my health journey and even body image.
Yes.
To a certain extent. And it's interesting you said that because literally a couple of days ago, and I train. I properly train about at least 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty confident when I walk into the gym, but there was a day where I couldn't stop kind of nitpicking at myself in the mirror. And it
Was this
occurred to
recently?
me very recently,
Okay.
about like 3 weeks ago.
All right.
And it occurred to me that it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. There will be points you'll always be critical. There will be moments of being self-critical. And yes, then I'm reminded, okay, look how far I came. But then I also like to be in the present where I'm like, no, but you're here right now. So it's almost like this mind map going on inside.
Okay. Well, I like you kind of went straight in, which is really good because I think the topics which we've discussed. Oh, let's start actually with Sharon because
Yes.
shout out to Sharon.
Yes, yes,
we
yes.
know each other through Sharon.
Yes, we
Sharon
do.
Ann is our numerologist who lives in South Africa. She's an absolute gem.
She really is.
And she actually changed sort of, I think, my path a little bit a long time ago, around maybe 9 or 10 years ago. And I absolutely adore her. And she's done sort of all of me and my family's birth charts and so much more than that.
Yeah.
But we both
do.
know
That's
her.
how we know. Yeah.
That's how we know each other.
It's so strange though. Yeah. And she's one of those, we were just saying before we started rolling as well, was that she's just good people.
Yeah, she's good people. She's a good egg.
Yeah, she is.
She's such a good egg. And she's just, I think she's one of the most gentle or gentlest souls.
And
I've
I've
ever met.
only spoken to her on the phone.
Me too.
So really?
No,
Yeah,
no, me
yeah. So I've
too.
never met. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I've only spoken to her on the phone, and to feel that connection with someone is strange, but I love it.
I agree. No, she's wonderful. So I think health, weight, fear, those are sort of big flags that we're going to wave today. So who is Sara today, sitting across the table from me?
First, I'm almost I'm close to almost 60 plus kilos lighter. So I'm a different
Wow.
human being. Not just
Physically.
but physically that weight comes off, and then I don't even know the burden. Like when like I said, sometimes I'll think if I'm lifting 20 or 40 kilos, I'm like, how did I walk with this weight? Or how did I manage to do different things? That's on the exterior, I'm going to say. But internally, the confidence and the grounding. I like, when you feel you've arrived, I feel like I've arrived where I am right now. And maybe post starting my journey in my early 20s, I was trying to mask it. I was honestly just trying to mask it. Whatever I could do to not mask the fact that I was just gaining weight and I didn't have control over it.
So how heavy were you pre-losing these 60 kilos?
I would like to say my heaviest was around 150.
Wow, okay. So 150.
And I grew to that over I wasn't always there. I want to say I was chubby. Got PCOS. Didn't understand at that point what PCOS was and what was happening.
Sorry, let me just ask you. So you were, when was this?
I want to say, when was 150?
When was 150 and then realizing, for instance, that you had PCOS?
PCOS was back in my teens. So
Okay.
in my teens when I was like I said, I was chubby. I wasn't overweight. I was chubby, but I was having issues with my periods. And
So you were chubby, but then you suddenly started to gain, no?
no. So I, in a way, PCOS, thyroid did aid my weight gain.
Okay.
But I reached my heaviest was when I did every single yo-yo diet under the sun.
Oh.
And I
need my sister here right now because I think her ears will be like ringing alarm bells if she was hearing this.
I would lose, like, I would do the Madonna diet, or I would do the 500 calorie diet a day. And of course you're going to lose 20 kilos if you do it.
If you're starving yourself.
Yeah. But then you leave it and then you don't realize the repercussion. And the repercussion is horrible.
Yeah.
Because the weight comes back. It comes back as stubborn weight. And that's when you start to spiral, because every single time you lose a bit more control, right? So going back in my teens, got PCOS. First thing first, they were like, you just need to go on the pill. You need to lose weight. You need to go on the pill.
Yeah, that's what they told my sister as well.
No understanding of what life was. And obviously at that time, I can't go back and say, well, maybe I should have known better. My mom should have known. It wasn't spoken about, you know?
No.
It wasn't.
The information wasn't really out there.
No.
And the people you'd rely on for information were doctors, right?
And honestly, like, as I'm sitting across from you right now and you're speaking about doctors, I had like desperation in my voice and my face when I would go and sit across from a doctor and be like, what do you mean? And so PCOS was there, prevalent. And then...
So you had these underlying health issues, PCOS and thyroid, which is quite severe.
Yes.
Then, just to add to that mix, you were yo-yo dieting on top of that.
Because they kept telling me, you need to lose. Next time I see you, you need to be 5 kilos lighter.
Okay, so they made the issue about weight, which then made you go through the yo-yo dieting, basically depriving yourself, starving yourself, and then...
Unhealthy relationship with food, like a fear of food. Why am I eating this? And what is happening? And then, but I was active. And that's the irony of it all is I was very active, even possibly around at, maybe not 150, but 130. I was playing netball. But I was pushing. That's another thing. I was pushing.
Was it a struggle to play netball?
Yes, but I didn't know any better.
What was the struggle?
Your feet hurt.
Okay.
You're carrying all this weight. Your knees hurt.
Yeah.
But I think, again, why I'm sitting here today is also like a very strong kind of a resilience and a belief in myself, because when you're at your heaviest and when everything seems to be falling apart, everything else in my life was under control, I would say. Or not, for instance, school was great, college was great, had a job, but you're hiding behind everything else. Even like because of, and small things that I know now that, you know, why was I getting a lot of hyperpigmentation? Why was I getting all of these, skin issues? It was because of my hormones.
Yes.
But what was I doing? Go and get a facial, go and get makeup, whereas now, the makeup I was wearing back then to what my skincare routine is now, which is minimal, is just diet, exercise, and sleep. And at that time, I'm like, do I want to go on some medication? Do I want to do this? You're just constantly looking, and you're desperate, and you don't feel good, but you feel like you've gone so far beyond that. Where do I start? Like, how do I get back to it? And I think it's the day I went in and they said, you know, Sara, like, you're not going to be able to get your period regularly if you don't stay on birth control, and you've got to take glucophage. And that, I guess, the minute I took it, my body rejected it. It was the best thing ever because I couldn't keep it down. It made me very nauseous. And I think it's a diabetes medication.
Oh, okay.
And it apparently that was their last resort, that if you take this, it's a diabetes medication, it's going to help with your PCOS and it's going to help you lose weight. And this, I couldn't. I tried for a week. I was so nauseous, couldn't keep it down. And I think a week later, I enrolled into nutrition school on my own, didn't tell anybody. Just went quietly, enrolled, started studying, started understanding what I need to do. First thing they told me is sleep. For hormone health, your sleep matters. I was sleeping 5-6 hours of poor quality sleep a night. And then it was a journey. It has not been sunshine and roses. It was a journey figuring out small targets, what suits me. How can I get over my fear of food? Because at one point I started fearing food.
Well, let's go into that a little bit. But because I think that's a really important topic. Like, it's the relationship obviously with food, but also relationship that you have with your body, which I guess are one and the same. But let's take you back a little bit before your weight loss journey. I say weight loss journey, it's a lot more than just a weight loss journey, because it isn't just about the weight. It's obviously about, sort of aligning and rectifying a lot going on inside. But to be 150, 160 kilos and to lose 60 of them makes it very much about body image, right? I mean, to any, everybody, like, whether you like it or not, is going to see.
The first thing they say.
The first thing they're going to see is you and your physical appearance. And I think we can sugarcoat it as much as, but why? We're here for that kind of conversation. So do you... sorry, I'm trying to word this in my head, but I would say, did your perception of your body change? Did this perception of Sara pre and post losing this weight change?
When people ask me about that time, I can describe the feeling. I've blocked out a lot, maybe, I think.
Oh.
I've blocked out a lot. Because at that point, I feel like I was going through life and ignoring the fact. So I was doing everything else that I needed to do, whether it was work, whether it was sports, whether it was yoga. I would even train, but I was doing everything to kind of compensate and say, but I don't look like this. But I did. I know I did. And I think my perception of body, kind of the way I looked, of course, that's changed. I mean, if I look back now, I don't understand how I even let myself get there.
Do you feel like it was in your control?
Yes, I think I want to take accountability that to a certain extent.
I
yes,
like that.
I should have known better. I think, I don't know if I told you this in our conversations, but I even did this diet where they told me that if I ate these 500 calories and then sat under a red lamp for 4 hours, I would lose like inches the same day.
Oh my God.
So I did those things, right? And so I have to take accountability for sooner. Why didn't I start understanding that I'm just going about quick fixes, but I needed to change.
I think that's a bit harsh. I think that's a bit harsh, because I think that you really did do what you were trying your best. I don't think you were trying to take any shortcuts there.
No, I wasn't.
So I think you take accountability for sure, but in that, I don't think there was much.
Yeah. Information-wise as well, I don't even know about like kind of social media or the information that was out there that is now. I still have my own feelings about like the amount of information that's out there now, but I'm really proud of where I am right now. Because I work hard. I work really hard to even get to where I am, and even I am still on my journey. And the fact that
But aren't we all on a journey?
Oh, yeah.
Of some sort.
Of course,
our journeys are going to be completely different, and what our struggles or battles or this. But I think we're on a journey until we die.
Yeah. But see, I think we might think, you know how sometimes people are like, okay, what that was your before, so when is your after? And it's like, no, this is my after.
Yeah.
Like, this is my after.
Yeah.
Because where I am today, I only have today right now, right? So where I am today, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. I don't think I'm ever going to stop being on a journey through life, whether it's with body acceptance, body image.
I mean, it's different phases of a journey. So now you've arrived. You're in the part of your journey where you've arrived, and you're happy with who you're looking at in the mirror, and you're proud of yourself, as you just said. So you're on a very different.
Proud of small things also. Like,
yes.
The other day I walked into a convention at Massimo into a store, and I wore jeans. Picked up a pair of jeans and I put them on. You're talking to somebody that used to, back in the day in Toronto, walk into these plus size stores and look at size 24 jeans. I don't even know, 26 jeans. And here I am picking off the counter jeans and putting them on. And I remember in the changing room when I put them on, when I got them, I was like, don't think they'll fit. And I was like, oh, like I stood there and these are the moments. So the moments that I have in the quiet with myself, which is like, did you just do a reformer class and did you just go ahead, like you did this? And it's like, okay, like we're happy.
So obviously body image has impacted your self-esteem and your self-confidence.
For sure it has. This is gonna sound strange. As a person, I'm very confident in who I am.
Yes, I can see that.
As in who I am. I've always been Sara. I get it from my dad. It's not a good thing, but I can't mask. I can't hide anything. I am just who I am. Take it or leave it. It's one of those things. But body image exists. There is no two ways about it. And I realized that it doesn't just, where we spoke a bit about accountability, but I also want to speak about like the little victim card as well, as you realize that it's not just when you're overweight that you have body image issues. Yeah. My best friend is the polar opposite of me. She's tall and skinny, and she's always not liked her arms. Yeah. My sister is the polar opposite of me. She actually goes underweight. And I remember we were at my brother's wedding recently, like 2-3 years ago, and people are coming up to me being like, oh, you look good, you've lost weight, but just a little bit more. And, and to her, they were like, oh, you're really skinny. Some were like, give me your diet. Others were like, you should put on a bit more weight though. And we would both laugh because we would sometimes be
well, isn't this the epitome of thin? This is thin privilege, right? Yeah. So this is literally, you can be completely unhealthy and skinny and we're going to praise you. Yeah. But you can be healthy and your weight, but it's negative.
Of course.
So, okay, this is what I wanted to get to. So perfect timing, by the way. So what differences have you noticed in the way that people treat you before losing the weight and after losing the weight? And is thin privilege real to you?
So if I spoke to you about my core circle of friends, like core, I have been extremely lucky.
I wouldn't be referring to them though.
No,
you wouldn't be referring about your closest friends that adore you. I'm talking about people on the street, people in a restaurant, people that you interact with at the gym, people that you interact with on a day-to-day who don't really know you.
So back in the day, I think 100% people would be like, oh, she's probably just sitting there binge eating all day. Like I felt it. I could see it. I could feel it.
So judging you in that way, thinking like, well, what is she doing?
For sure. Okay. What is she doing? And that fear kind of kept me from going into the gym and doing group fitness classes. And now I'm all about group fitness classes. You know what it is? It's you did this to yourself. Like it's oh, you should know better. And why are you doing this to yourself? And look at you. You have such a pretty, the amount of times I've heard you have such a pretty face. Why don't you just lose weight? You have such a...
So condescending.
It always. But again, now I laugh.
You have such a pretty face, but...
You
have such a... Oh, God, it's really condescending.
You're so talented, but... And again, I think because that's what I felt, but when you feel differently or have a different kind of a structure at home and with friends and family. Again, my best friend sat across from me in Toronto. I still remember. She came to visit me and she said, I'm just worried about your health. Like, I need you to consider your health right now.
Yeah.
And that's
so a little bit of an intervention.
Yeah. And in a way that what do you need from me also? Like, I'll support you in everything.
Okay.
And she did. If I was eating sashimi and not sushi with the right, like she would sit with me and she would eat the same thing. And and honestly, or she would cook for me, or she would. And so I think the image of people, and that I didn't let it get to me, but then I also had the opposite. I had kindness of people. When I first started, my first instructor, she gave me a PVC pipe to do a deadlift. And I was like, okay, like, what am I doing? And she's like, it's okay, you gotta trust the process. I was so overweight, maybe 3 months into us training, like I had sprained my ankle and I was in a boot.
Because it was too
weight,
heavy. Yeah.
And then so she got her kid's skateboard out and said, okay, we're going to row. And I still remember I used to do my rowing.
Yeah, but I think these are the people that come into your life at these points and really change everything for you, because they're supporting you. They're your backbone during this struggle, you know?
They're speaking and they're telling you can do it. Like, just wait until it starts to drop off. And you don't think it's going to happen. You don't know. I didn't know what it would feel like. I wouldn't. And then it happens. And then, like I said, you have these aha moments where I walked into a class the other day and I ran. And I was like, I'm running.
Yeah.
Like, I was this year like, oh no, I'll take the easy way out. Now I'm like, listen, and I'll always tell people in a group fitness class or a trainer, I'll be like, I'm going to try. If I feel like a bit off balance, I'll go back. But yeah, for sure, I 100% felt the whole...
Thin privilege?
Yeah, it was there.
Do you have any examples of that? Or people sort of not...
So, funny enough, I think at my heaviest, I didn't feel it as much because you're almost invisible you're almost to a point invisible in the sense that you're just like that then, right? There's nothing's going to change. You're that overweight right now. And also I'm 5'4.5", so I'm short. Like, I'm short. So at my heaviest, it was a lot. But as I started to lose weight and then I came into kind of the wellness industry, that was when I felt it. That it was kind of like, what do you know?
Oh, I see.
That's when I felt it. Does that make sense? So you're almost you're too far gone at your heaviest.
You weren't even considered, like, I think I totally see what you're saying. They were considering what you were even doing in this space.
Yes.
If you are overweight.
Exactly.
Like, you're not allowed to be in this space if you look like you.
Yes.
You told me before this was while we were on the phone, but I want you to say this. It was about how you are a spin instructor. Tell me the story of your class of people. Tell me the story of that.
So I found spinning very therapeutic. I loved it. I love being in a dark room, music, lights. Did it for about a year and a half. And this I'm going to give credit. A little shout out to Xenon in Bahrain.
Okay.
I was training there. Like, I was just riding, and they were like, would you ever consider becoming an instructor? And I was like, a part of me is, part of me, it's there. And I don't know what phase of confidence I was in. I was like, I'm going to do it. Became an instructor, did it my way, did my kind of strength and soul classes is what I used to call them. And lo and behold, I did my trial, got through, got put on the schedule. And I think it was the first month where I almost felt as if some people would sit there and be like, what are you doing? Or would come to my class and then walk out and just be like, what are you doing? And I'm not going to lie, I think my first month was very ropey because it's imposter syndrome kicks in. Oh, I've done all the work. I'm up on stage. I have a mic now. I have music. People are paying to come here. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And then when you start getting nervous, you start getting out of breath in general. So what's happening?
I think people who do classes tend to look at the instructor as what they want to look like. That's usually what friends of mine say.
For sure.
They'll say, I like that girl's body or that instructor's physique, so I want to do whatever she's doing. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the judgment comes from. And now that I'm sitting with you, I'm realizing how wrong that is. I never would have thought sort of differently until I'm having this conversation, if I'm being honest.
No, but that's what it is when you eat. I do that. If I follow a yoga instructor or Pilates instructor, I look at their body and I'm like, oh my God.
It's natural to do so.
It is. Yes. And that's why I think where I come from is subconsciously I don't blame the skinny privilege in the way that, where like that's what it is. It's just society. It's culture. It's 100%. It's how things have been ingrained in us. And it's
wiring. It's like literal wiring.
But then I remember having a woman that came to my class and she was from Saudi and she brought her daughter with her. And I was like, she used to come to my morning classes all the time. And one day she brought her daughter and she said, you know, I'm so happy she's here because I want her to, her daughter was just about to go to uni. And she's like, I want her to know that you can do anything you want in your life. And I think that from there on out was my second month. It gave me the confidence where that's it. I started working hard at it. I started working hard at my own fitness because I wanted to be fit.
Yeah.
In terms of being able to keep up, being able to program good classes, being able to give my clients what they needed, but at the same time know that I was extremely blessed to be there and to be given that opportunity. And that's it. From there on out, it just never, it didn't cross my mind. But would I say that yes, like since I've moved here, people are like, oh my God, are you going to teach here as well? And I'm like, give me a while, like let me settle in. I don't know yet, but I also need to gauge because it's not as forgiving.
Please try, because I've recently gotten into spinning and I'd love to come to one of your classes and try it out.
I will. No, that's one of my goals for myself. I'm going to do it. You know what? I
actually just think it's important on a community level, on an inclusive level, on a wellness level. So wellness to me is such an interconnected thing. It's not just beauty or fitness or spirituality or emotions. Like it's so interconnected. And just by being interconnected, it needs to be inclusive. You're not just allowing a certain group of people that look a certain way into the wellness sphere. Right?
No, for sure.
I feel like spiritual people need to look like this, and then fit people need to look like this, and you know, hot people need to have this face, and it's like it's just all a bit much.
It is.
And again, with social media, I think that's what it pushes so much. So maybe I've created that in my own mind, but I just don't like it. I don't like what it looks like wellness anymore. I want it to just, for me, it's more of a feeling.
Yes.
Of I feel great because I've done this, and I've taken pinches of, I've done like, you know, a little bit of my spiritual stuff today, and I've did my workout, and like, it doesn't need to be a thing. Like, I think what also is starting to become a bit irritating about the wellness industry is that it's all such an overdone thing. Yeah. And it should just be sort of a way of life without having to shove in everybody's face, this is what you do and this is how you do it. I might be venting right now.
No, but it's so true. You're saying it doesn't define you. Like being a spin instructor didn't define me. It was something that I did.
Yeah.
But I did it because, yes, A, I loved it. But B, absolutely, I wanted to show the fact that you could be healthy at my weight and at my size. And
you can look like me,
yes,
and be healthy. My hormones are good, and this is I'm
no
eating
cysts.
Wonderfully. I have no cysts.
Yeah,
I'm fit. So it's
my visceral fat. Like I get my blood test done. My visceral fat, my cholesterol, my sugar. Like I work at this.
Yeah,
and it is what we said, a work in progress. And I also think for women at every single age, that because our bodies will change.
Yeah.
Regardless, I think that's something that we don't speak about enough is your bodies will change. You are allowed to want to look the way you want to look. I have no judgment in that. Whatever makes you happy. But then at the same time, we have to exercise that same judgment to somebody that might not fit your mold.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good one. That's 100%. I think it's time to ask you about your pivot. And you might have already said it because we've gone through a lot of like sort of big changes. But if you do have something different to what you've already said about what your pivot might be, please do share.
I think my pivot recent times was becoming a spin instructor for sure. That was when, I think that's when the fear left me. The fear of you're in this industry now.
So did you have fear about workouts before?
I had a fear of saying that I'm a holistic health coach. For the longest time, I didn't even.
Why? Because of
the way I looked.
Because of the way you looked and people judging you,
Of
I'm
course.
assuming. Okay.
Because of the way I looked and people going, but how are you going to make me lose weight? Or what are you going to do for me? And then.
So people not taking you seriously.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, internally also, I'm guessing. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think for the longest time I didn't do that. I was in corporate. I love my job, but You're
allowed to be in corporate.
Yes.
You can look like this in corporate, but you're not allowed. Okay, wow.
So true, actually.
Yeah.
That's
It's
actually
acceptable.
really true. And I was in the F&B industry. So, it's great. Like, I'm going on all these food tours in the UK and here and there. Like, so
Acceptable.
But if you're gonna go and say that today I'm gonna teach you about hormone health, who are you? And so all of my degrees and certifications that I kept doing over years, I just kept them to myself until I decided to open up my own business. And I remember having a conversation with a friend, and I said, I'm thinking about like F&B consultancy and maybe a bit of coaching on the side. She's like, no, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it properly.
Yeah.
You're going to come out and say, this is who I am and this is what it's about. And I thought about it. I remember I think I took some time off. I thought about it, and that's it. I ripped the Band-Aid off. I launched my website fully, got a photo shoot, wrote every article, blog posts, and that was it. And in that moment, I remember saying, now you're in it, good and bad, you're going to take it. Every single backlash you will take, everything. You just have to remember you're human and other people are human. And I think when you lead with that, that it's fine. And to me, that was one of the turning points. I think, yes, becoming a spin instructor, being on that stage, and seeing how things progress, like doing an outdoor ride, doing a ride at sunset, like things I had never imagined or things that I didn't even know that I was capable of, being able to do that, going from having one or two people show up to my class at the start because I was a new instructor to having waitlisted classes on a Saturday morning.
Wow.
Like that to me was it was pure joy. It was just joy.
I think this is the calling for you to do the classes in Dubai. Come on.
I will.
Please.
I will. That is my goal. Next year, I'm going to
do you have studios in mind?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll discuss this later.
I will. No, but I want to. You know what?
Yeah.
It's if it brings me joy and if I can pass on
it does. You're smiling so much right now. I know it brings you joy. And if you're saying this was your pivot that managed to erase a huge amount of fear from your body, I think it means it's a hugely positive thing in your life, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think, because I wanted to say maybe years ago or early on in my life, I left my job and I went to Pakistan, and I was living with my grandfather, who is the reason I am the way I am. Like he's like instilled a lot in me. And I remember I went to visit him because he wasn't well, and I ended up opening up like a little pop-up shop. Ooh. And started getting people to stock with me and do things. That this is me
selling what? Sorry,
I was doing I had the wooden spoon, which was my little baked goods, gluten-free,
nice,
dairy, refined, sugar-free. But then I stocked everything from jewelry to clothes. I would just do pop-up stores. Completely new. Yes, it's my hometown and my city. Hadn't lived there, but I am running a business, making money while I'm just, taking care of my grandfather. But I was like, you're never in a box. I think what it taught me was don't put yourself in a box. So I remember when I moved back to Bahrain and I still had my corporate job, I would do small markets on the side. Or I would do catering on the side. Or I think
you realize you can do anything you want to do. And we are our own obstacles to doing whatever we want to do, because we kind of set in our minds or even within our bodies, like we're programmed to believe that we can't do whatever we want to do for some reason. So you're proof of that.
But also give it a try, right? Like I love to go to dance classes. I'll dabble in art class, whatever. Even if I'm not good at it,
I think we're a bit similar, to be honest. Like I try everything. Yeah. I try everything. I recently did a dance class.
There you go.
I'm not a very good dancer, but it was more. It was
fun.
It was so fun. A bit frustrating when you're terrible, because I like to be good at things, but it was fun. That was really fun. And I always want to try something new. Yeah. It just gives you that kick. And then I think if you can just try something new once a month, literally once a month, say, okay, what am I doing this month? What am I doing this month? It's a really good way. If you're good, that means you're doing 12 new things a year. And out of those 12 new things, you're definitely going to find one thing that might stick.
And even if it doesn't, it's a memory. To
100%.
me, it's a memory. And it's the same with work.
Yes.
If I love jewelry, once upon a time, I remember I went and I started making like bits and bobs of jewelry. sold it for a bit, and then I was done.
You're done.
And then I was like, but I did it. Like it's you know, when you're like, tick,
this
tick,
reminds
tick,
me
tick,
of my
tick.
career, to be honest. But
Really?
yeah, definitely. But I think the trial and error process is really underrated and looked at as inconsistency maybe, or inability to commit by others, or just by me as well. Like I think of
Yeah.
it the same way. However, I look at it just so differently. I think you have to try as much as possible.
And then, and yeah, and somewhere down the line, I think that's when you start believing in yourself.
Yes.
That's when you become confident. I think a lot of people always ask me, like, Sara, are you truly confident in your body? Are you truly confident in who you are?
Yeah.
And look, like I said, I have days. Everybody has days. That's human. But am I truly extremely grateful for my body? Am I confident in who I am? Do I enjoy getting ready? Yes, that has all changed. Whereas before.
Let me ask you something. Did you ever feel as a young girl from like, let's say 2, 3, maybe that's a bit too young, but let's say 3 to 11 or 12, that you had body insecurities? You didn't feel that way at all? So this is very much
Not at all.
Teens. Late teens.
Around about PCOS, by the way. And I haven't, this is just a thought that came into my head. I actually think when you're having hormonal imbalances, obviously, even mentally, it takes a toll on you, because you know you're not in your body almost. So I do think that then all of these insecurities and everything just starts to play a toll, because you don't understand what's going on. And then again, it comes back to not understanding what sugar does to our body. What, you know, just learning. I think that's another thing, what we said right now about trying things, but being curious.
Yes.
I think that's what led me down even studying, was just I wanted to be very curious about things and understand, what does this do to my body and what does that do to my body.
Yeah.
But no, back then, no. Even you know, early teens, late teens, it wasn't that bad. But late teens and 20s was when, you know, when things started happening, and I just wasn't happy. But you mask it, because I'm somebody that is extremely grateful for everything I have. I count my blessings before I say this is what I don't have. And I think at that point it was kind of like, but no, you have this, you know, you have a roof over your head, you have a family, you have.
And I like that. I like gratitude, of course, but it does not negate from the fact that you're going through something. So you have to be okay with the struggle, like embrace that struggle. Don't be like, well, I'm struggling, but I'm okay, but I'm grateful. It's okay to be grateful, but also embrace that you're not okay.
Don't hide it.
No.
Like, yeah. But see, even the whole concept of hiding, like clothes, for instance, I would wear 2-3 sizes bigger because you want to hide. And then as I started losing weight, I still used to do this, where I used to buy a bigger size and I'd wear it, and it was like, no, but I'm not that size.
Yeah.
Because mentally it takes you a while to be like, this is where I'm at.
Definitely. Do you think PCOS is emotional?
I do. I actually do. If you look at it, a lot of people with PCOS, you don't get your period for a while.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, when?
Well, I think the fact that you're the most womanly monthly part of your body, like women get their periods. That's a huge part of being a woman. So that being taken away, it's indicative of what, though? I've always been thinking about this, and I have my sister who's gone through it as well. I'm like, what's the emotional thing behind PCOS? Like, what do you think it is?
I think you shut off a lot. I actually think emotionally you shut off a lot.
So it's suppressing.
Because it's suppressing, yeah.
So you think it could come from suppressing strong emotions? Okay. Need to ask Layla what she thinks too.
For sure. Like, and then you're, you know, now I always talk about kind of eating closer to like how my cycle is, and doing this, and seed cycling, and everything kind of, you know, even training to where I am in my cycle. A couple of years ago, I didn't even know what that felt like.
Yeah.
I didn't know the feeling. If you go for years without your period, without the help of medication. Even that, I don't think, that's just kind of a cycle. You don't know what you're feeling, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think, yeah, for sure, I would say it's suppressed emotions.
Interesting. I've always wanted to ask that, and I don't know why I've always forgotten to. And because I believe most illnesses and ailments are emotional. I mean, not most, all.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's gotten to an illness or a disease or something quite severe means it's not been addressed for quite some time, Okay, so we have 4 boxes here. We have mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. I want you to put the weight of how you managed to get from where you were to where you are today. So like kind of percentages in each box, like like if let's say 50% of it was mental, 25% of it was this. So could you try and put percentages in those boxes?
Mental, physical, emotional, spiritual?
Yeah.
I would put equal weight on mental and physical.
Okay.
So almost
25
25 to a bit more, maybe
that means
30 and 30.
Okay, so 60%
30, yeah.
is mental and physical.
Yeah. Spirituality, I'm very spiritual. Spirituality for sure. I'm going to put another 30. No, 25 there. 25.
Okay.
25.
So we're 75?
Yeah, 15. So emotional, I would say 15.
Okay.
I'd say 15.
They're
the
all
reason
linked.
I
It's
say
all, it's all
so
completely
this is the
interconnected. It's just obviously, how much you work out it can vary from person to person, and then how much you're really sort of mental. For me, is what is mental if you really think about it. Like mental is a combination of everything, because you're using your mental capacity all day long.
But also maybe the strength to keep going. I think there are days where you're like, throw in the towel and I'm done.
I think it's a mindset.
Yeah,
mental would be mindset. Yes,
for sure. But I also think at different points in my life it was different. So let's say at the starting point, mental and emotional was a lot more. Maybe the weight there was a lot more. Where I am today, the physical element is a lot more, because I know that that's within my control almost.
Exactly.
So I think it changes over time, but I think 100% all of these things are interconnected. And I think what you said at the start, which I loved, was that we're all on a journey.
Yeah, we are.
This just happens
to be yours.
Yeah, and it's a bit more tangible physically because you can
exactly.
see it.
I think yours is very much physical, although again, we're going to say the same thing 100 times. Yeah. Everything is linked and it's all connected. But because it's something we can see, it's different to, for instance, what somebody might be going through.
Yes.
That you can't see.
I think that sometimes can be like scarier though, because you're
100%.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I think that's another reason why I've become more comfortable talking about it. I've become more comfortable speaking about it.
There's a reason for this, right? I mean, we were saying this before we started, when all the mics were being set up. There is a reason for everything. So the fact that it is something that is your body that others can see, and you've gone through this, means I think that you're supposed to be talking about this. And you're supposed to be that spin instructor. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to let go of the spin instructor thing. It's not.
It's happening.
You're going. It's happening next week.
No, you're right.
Yeah. So the wellness industry, I would say to a degree, I'm in this industry with, the hypnotherapy that I'm doing for clients. It's definitely part of wellness, improving your mindset, improving physical ailments. It's, it really does heal to a degree, because you're dealing with like subconscious. So to a degree, I'm in this industry.
Of course.
It's just I have problems with it when it comes to sort of the commercialization of products and just this product pushing. I'm a consumer as well. Like, I'm on my phone constantly buying stuff, and I'm using, let's say, a quarter or an eighth of what I'm buying because of how well these products are being sold and marketed. So I have an issue with that. I don't like.
Do I?
Yeah, and I don't like people's vulnerabilities or insecurities being used at all.
No.
It really upsets me when I see, 10 girls looking exactly the same because they've done the same Botox, lips, eyes, etc. Even going to the gym and everyone looks exactly the same. Or everyone's had a boob job or everyone's done, it's just too much. It's really just, there's individuality that's being lost. There's authenticity that's being lost. So I have issues with the wellness industry for sure, but I think it's for the right reasons. And I would just want, there has to be more inclusivity for people that look different. Yes.
You know what you're saying right now? My parents train. My parents, I love them. They're weight training nowadays. My mom the other day did a circuit class and I saw her do burpees and I was just amazed.
Well done, mama.
And I love their little gym routine. They have their bags and they have their kits and
my parents are the same.
Yeah, they're
excellent.
Right? They're different. So when I go to their gym and I see all their friends and everybody, what you're saying, nobody looks the same.
Yeah.
They're all different.
See, that's
that generation
wonderful.
Is all different. And I mean,
because they haven't been brainwashed.
No. They really haven't. And they'll wear what they want to wear. Look,
maybe they're also a bit late to the party when it comes to the fitness game, so I get it. Yeah. They're a little late, but not late. No one's late. It's never too late. But you know what I'm saying.
But they genuinely enjoy it. Like after the gym, all of these friends, they'll get together and they'll have their shower and then they'll have dinner. And then I'm like, oh, that's nice. But I 100% agree with the consumerism part of things, especially.
And that cookie cutter. The cookie cutter.
Yeah.
It's like a syndrome. It's like cookie cutter syndrome.
Of course it is. This is what you should look like. This is what you should wear. Why are you wearing that brand? That's so 2 years ago.
The way you speak even. It's just like controlling. I don't want to say, maybe my generation a little bit, but I think it's the younger ones that are getting really affected.
And they are. You can see it. I think you see younger, and I'm going to say girls especially because I just think you're so vulnerable when you're in your late teens or 20s, and it's all the same, and you're being sold a lifestyle. Because what you said again about the instructor part is, if you're going to sell me something, if I buy it, I'm going to look like you.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all it is. If I buy this, I'm going to look like you. You're going to make all my problems go away. Having that specific brand of collagen, my problems are going to go away. I'm going to become healthier. I can eat a burger every single day, but you told me if I take this, and that, honestly, Yasmin, is the biggest reason why I got in the industry, is because I would be that person. You want to sell me something? Mold. But no, also, if you want to sell me something, I'll do it because then I'll look like you. I was so desperate. Of course I'm going to look like you.
Oh, I see. That's what you mean.
So I was there. I'd be like, oh, okay, what do I need to do? You know, anything. Just give me the magic pill.
But now you're at a place where you're so content with who you are and peaceful with who you are and what you look like and your confidence, etc. But I feel you're now in this industry breaking the mold. Yeah. Which I love. Yeah. Like it's really authentic and it's real, and you're showing a real journey, not just look. I'm not saying somebody who's only lost 10 kilos is not a journey. Of course, that's a journey, but you're showing a very different side.
But I'm also leading with this whole mindset, regardless of who you are. I had somebody ask me yesterday, I want to lose 2 to 3 kilos. I feel like I put those on, and her first thing was, I'm sorry. I know it doesn't sound like a lot. And I was like, no, I'm not judging you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm not judging you. You don't feel like yourself right now. And that's 2 to 3 kilos will help you.
Exactly.
So we can all feel and look the way we want to feel without judgment.
Yeah.
And health first. To me, at the core of it all, longevity. Why am I training? Why are my parents training? Because they want to have... They want to live a longer, healthier life. Yeah. Why am I training? I want to be healthier. You would have told me at my heaviest that I thought acid reflux was a normal thing. I didn't know what it was until it went away because I was so heavy. Sleep apnea, sore muscles, sore like ankles or knees. I thought that was all normal. Now when I think about it, I'm like, oh, that's not what I was supposed to do.
Well, you were just living with it.
Yeah.
So it was part of like you until it's gone. And you're like, oh, I feel great.
Like, this is who I am now. And so I think definitely breaking the mold for sure. And I take That's why when I am out on either social media or when I'm doing talks or when I'm with clients, I'm very mindful of the fact that my why is very strong. Why did I come out into this? Why am I here? What am I doing? Is because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to be healthier.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ever conform to that whole concept of, because I never was, right? I was never, I don't know what it feels like to be part of that conformed society of like, this is what wellness and fitness and all of these things look like. I was always on the side doing my own thing. And I frankly speaking, I think that was a blessing in disguise almost.
Yep.
So
what are your future goals and aspirations, if we're allowed to know any of them? Spin instructor, spin instructor, spin instructor.
You know what? Somewhere down the line, I want to have a space where when it comes to fitness, when it comes to training, when it comes to actual understanding your body and training along with it. I've been to trainers and instructors that have done biomechanics and that kind of, tell you exactly
The
how to
biohacking?
train. Yeah, biohacking as well. Yeah. So I want the true information. I want to be able to part true information and knowledge with the help of professionals.
I think basically being that person you wished you had when you were going through the peak of your struggle.
Yeah.
I love that.
And the rest I'm kind of going about. Like, honestly, we spoke about like how things happen in the trajectory of life right now. Things are happening and doors are opening and it's a great place to be in right now. And for the first time, I'm kind of not going, what's next? Because it's almost, you think it, you believe it, and it happens. That's what's happening in life right now, which is a interesting phase to be in.
That's a good place. I think you're going to be a real inspiration for people that don't feel included in this wellness sphere at the moment and maybe just need a little bit of support. So thank you. Thank you. I'm coming to your spinning class.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's been cathartic speaking about all of this today. So thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We end with our chink.
Thank you.